Up regulations, we cut spending, we cut fees, we cut fines. We were serious about the fact that if the private sector's not working, nothing's working. And at a point in time when there were a lot of people out of work, I think we took the state in a completely different direction. Now, I left there and I went to work for Harvard Pilgrim, which was basically on the verge of bankruptcy when I got there. Most people thought it wasn't going to last even a few months when I arrived. But again, we put together a good team and a good plan, and we ground it out every single day. We focused on the customer. We focused on cutting spending where we had to. I made some very difficult decisions. I closed offices. I got out of certain things. I made a bunch of people unhappy and did some disruptive things. But they were the things that needed to be done to save the organization. And for the past 5 years, Harvard Pilgrim was the #1 ranked health plan in the country for member satisfaction, judged by the members, the most important constituent of all, according to U.S. News and World Report. And I was very happy there, and I would have stayed there and been happy there if I felt like our state was going in the right direction. But as a guy who's lived here for 46 of my 53 years, and who's the product of a mixed marriage, my mom's a Democrat, my dad's a Republican, so for me, it's not about the party thing, okay? I just felt Massachusetts was driving itself off a cliff with the current team that's up there on Beacon Hill, and I couldn't just sit by and watch anymore. And so a year ago, I jumped into this race for governor, and my platform is pretty simple, okay? It is all about realizing that state government does not have a revenue problem. State government has a spending problem. And this administration up on Beacon Hill, what have they been doing? They've been kicking the can, right? Kicking the can down the road. $1 billion in new taxes. $1 billion in new fees and fines. Billions of dollars in federal stimulus money. Billions of dollars in rainy day fund money. And we still, as a state, have a huge budget deficit this year and a $2.5 billion deficit next year. The budget is managing them. They are not managing the budget. And every day that goes by, they think this thing is a toothache, this budget problem, and they keep hoping it's going to go away. Well, you know what? It's an opportunity for reform. It's an opportunity to shrink the size of state government, change the bureaucracy, streamline the operating model, and get real about delivering a government that people can afford. You know, I've said a lot of things about what I would want to do. I'll just mention a couple. I worked in state government for 8 years. I like and admire a lot of the people who are there. But I said one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the state's workforce in the executive branch by 10%. And I don't say that with enthusiasm. I say it simply because state government has to play by the same rules everybody else is playing by. And when families are out there dealing with 20% less, what do? They cut spending. When small businesses are out there dealing with 20% less in revenue, what do? They cut spending. State government isn't playing by the same rules everybody else is playing by. State spending's up by $3 billion over the last few years. This has to stop. Because we cannot spend our way out of this problem. We have to cut spending, reform the pension system, clean up the welfare system, deal with illegal immigration, take on the healthcare system and healthcare reform. Everything basically has got to be on the table. And state government, instead of pussyfooting around and saying, oh, geez, you know, if we just had a little more revenue, state government has to play by the same rules you play by every day. And that means living within its means and getting up every morning believing that every day is about coming up with a smarter and better and cheaper way to deliver service so that you, the people of Massachusetts who pay the bills, get the state government you deserve. It makes me nuts when I talk to people who interact with state government all the time. And I absolutely believe that a lot of people in state government think you work for them, not the other way around. You pay the bills. State government works for you. This is supposed to be public service. And I will be relentless about that. Because I'm one of these people who's perfectly happy to establish metrics and measure performance. And if people aren't doing the job they're supposed to be doing, I'll find somebody who will. I'm not doing this because it's the next step in my political career, folks.
Charlie,
1 minute.
I'm a business guy, okay? But we have huge problems in Massachusetts, and I've been part of 2 turnarounds, one in the public sector and one in the private sector. I know how to hold people accountable. I know how to create plans. I know how to cut budgets and cut spending, and I know how to get stuff done. And I will clean up the regulatory mess that makes small business crazy. I will cut taxes so that small businesses can grow their businesses. And I will create a climate in Massachusetts that's affordable and accountable to you. And the reason I know I will is because I've done it before. And nothing would give me more pleasure than having the opportunity to spend the next number of years of my professional life building the team and delivering the mail every single day on behalf of the people of Massachusetts. This is a great state full of great, smart, capable, and creative people. You do not have a state government that plays to the same level you do. It is an anchor and an impediment to your ability to thrive and succeed. It needs to be an enabler. And with that, I'm perfectly happy to take questions. Yes, sir.